Hello, Gabe Hiller here, Hohenzollern on YouTube and Hot Brown Couch on Twitch. We're attempting to discover the most cost-effective unit, totally accurate battle simulator. So we're now in the Viking Age, and we've got headbutters on the left versus ice archers on the right. 12,000 credits worth of each. Ice archers have been doing a very good job of freezing the headbutters, but now the headbutters have gotten to them. At least in the south end, they're cleaning up, but in the north end, the ice archers seem to be holding them at bay for the moment. Now, I think they're just far too many headbutters coming up from the south here. There's no way that they can shoot them all. Enough to slow them down. Yeah, no, I think the headbutters are getting the better of this battle. Yeah, there are far too many of them. There's no way the ice archers can manage. Looks like there's one archer left. Yeah, that's the end of it. Okay. So, headbutters beat archers, ice archers anyway. Now let's send them against some brawlers. Whenever a unit has shields, I try and group them up so that they can protect each other with their shields. And the headbutters are certainly in there. It's kind of hard to see how many of them are still alive because they go rush in there and butt with their heads and then fall down, and maybe they get back up and maybe they don't. And the brawlers have braids on the front and back, and the headbutters have braids on the sides. Okay, so it looks like most of the headbutters are dead. The brawlers are having a hard time finding them, the remaining ones. There's one guy who's got his shield stuck on his shoulder. Somewhere in this pile are the headbutters that the berserkers are trying to get, but they seem to be hitting each other more than the headbutters. There we go, they got him. Okay, so looks like brawlers beat headbutters. But how do they fare against berserkers? Well, berserkers don't have any shields, but they do have dual axes, so we'll see what happens here. Also, they can leap. As you can just see, they just leapt in there. Quite a few of the shields are down. Shields aren't really as effective against people who can kind of leap past the shields. Well, it was relatively even, but I'm thinking the berserker's going to take it. Yeah, and they did. Okay. So moving on, how do the berserkers do against Valkyries? Valkyries have swords, and they do fly a little bit. They also leap, but they can't fly as high as you might like them to. They can't actually stay completely out of trouble. And when the berserkers can leap up in the air, yeah, I think the berserkers are going to take this one. There just weren't enough Valkyries. They're too expensive units. They're better for harrying not so powerful units. The berserkers have taken it. Let's put them up against some Jarls. Jarls are very tough, tanky units, and their axes do a lot of damage, but they're also very expensive, and there may not be enough of them to overcome this many berserkers. We'll see here. Yeah, no, I don't think the Jarls are going to make it. They've taken out quite a few berserkers, but not quite enough. There's only one Viking unit left, and that is the longboats. I can see the longboats having somewhat of an advantage. They have oarmen in them, and they're all going to land right there on a bunch of the berserkers right after the berserkers jump. But the question is, do they take out enough berserkers that the remaining oarmen can battle the berserkers? And it doesn't look like they can. So, looking like for the Viking era, the berserkers are the most cost-effective unit. Yeah. So, let's move on to the Dynasty era. And we have firework archers, one of my favorites, one of fans' favorites. Unfortunately, right away we put them up against samurais, and samurais can deflect arrows. So that's going to be pretty strong against these firework archers. Nevertheless, firework archers are getting quite a few arrows through, and the samurai are bunching up. So if they can get enough arrows into these large groups of samurai, unfortunately the large groups of samurai seem to be doubly effective at deflection. So, well, that group there just got blown up, and another one did too, but I don't know, I don't think there are enough firework archers left to take out these remaining groups of samurai. Yeah, there's only like 5 of them left now, and they're getting ganged up on. 2. 1. That's it. Okay, so the samurai are currently the most cost-effective unit, but let's see how they do against monks. Monks are pretty tanky. Also kind of expensive though, but they do leap forward. These stages there should do pretty good to clear the area of samurai, but it may not be effective enough. We'll have to see here. Right now it's looking like there are more monks standing, but only because they keep knocking the samurai down. And a lot of the samurai are still getting up. I don't see a lot of dead samurai on the ground that aren't just getting up and continuing the fight, so it's looking pretty even at the moment. I don't know, in the south the samurai seem to be doing better, and in the north the monks seem to be doing better. But again, they're having to knock the samurai down several times, and that's the problem. They just don't have enough life to survive long enough, to knock them down 2 or 3 times. So, the samurai are still victorious. Let's put them against ninjas. Now, you'd think ninjas would be pretty good, but again, the samurai can deflect their ninja stars, and the ninjas are pretty much glass cannons. They don't have a lot of life, so it's looking like they're not going to... They also don't have a lot of range is a problem, so... We could have placed them farther away, but they wouldn't have gotten much extra time. It looks like the samurai are still the best unit, but let's put them up against some dragons and see how the dragons do against them. And the dragons are pretty devastating against the lines of them, but there are still some samurai left, and once you're like underneath the dragons, they can't breathe fire on you. But that second line of dragons might manage to take out the rest of the samurai, and if they do, then we might be looking at a dragon victory here. Yep, yeah, they got them all. We're not done yet. Dragons need to beat the Huachas. Let's see how they do. Yeah, the Huachas are pretty devastating against those balloon-like dragons, but few of them survived, and it takes the Huachas a long time to reload. Only a little bit of fire destroys them pretty well. Let's see if the remaining ones can get off a shot or 2. Well, they took that dragon down, but there's still 3 left. Maybe 2 left, but 2's kind of all it takes. What's more, dragon crews are left, and they can also smash up Huachas. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so the dragons are victorious again, but now let's see how they do against the Monkey Kings. Gonna have to put a lot of fire on them right away. It's just not enough. Now the Monkey Kings are underneath the dragons don't have much of a chance. And once the Monkey Kings get in range, they have their duplication illusion attack. Once they start to attack, it's hard for them to lose. Yeah, there we go. So the Monkey King, in fact, is the most cost-effective unit in the Ancient Era. Now let's move on to the special units. We have some fan bearers on the left against jesters. Space the jesters out. More of them will get in to do some of their knife attacks, and they are getting in to do their attacks, but not very many of them are. I think the fan bearers are going to be victorious here against the jesters. Yeah. Moving on to the next unit, we have executioners. There's a lot more fan bearers. They can create a lot of wind, but the executioners are very heavy units. They're beefy. It's going to take a lot to knock them down. It's not going to take them very many attacks to cleave through those fan bearers. But the fan bearers are so far keeping them at bay. Except up in the north there. A few of them are getting through and getting a few attacks in. And they're tanky. They're going to have to knock them down a lot of times before they actually die, so we'll see what happens here. Some of the fan bearers are blowing the other fan bearers further forward. That's also blowing them in range of the executioners. They're kind of broken up into 3 separate groups here. In the middle, the fan bearers might be doing well enough to survive, but the other 2 groups, well, it's kind of hard to tell. Up north, the fan bearers are doing okay, but I don't think they're going to fare very well in the southern group. Yeah, the executioners are broken through both of those groups. Once they've taken care of those fan bearers, they're going to come upon the rest of them from behind, and then I think it's going to be over. Yeah, this is the beginning of the end. Come on to their flank. There's only like 6, 7 fan bearers left. Now there's like 4, 3. Just 1 left. Oh, that's the end of it. Yep, the executioners are victorious. So let's see how they do against the next unit, the Mace-Spinners. I've placed the Mace-Spinners far apart from each other because the main problem, I think, with the Mace-Spinners is going to be collateral damage, friendly fire. They're spinning their maces into each other, so we'll see how they do here. I'm hoping that, like, the first Mace-Spinner could keep the executioners busy for long enough for the next line of them to get in and get some damage done, but it's not looking good. I'm seeing a lot of Mace-Spinners on the ground and not very many executioners. And the executioners that are on the ground are getting back up again, so yeah, it's looking like another executioner victory here. Yep, that's that. Moving on to the next special unit, we have cheerleaders. I think we know what's going to happen here, but it might be kind of entertaining. The cheerleaders are going to buff each other, so they're going to cheer even faster and faster and faster as it goes. But I don't think there's ever going to, like, anything going to happen as a result of that. Yeah, the executioners are headed towards them, and it's going to be a bit of a slaughter, I think, here, as their pom-poms roll away across the simulated ground. Yep, that's it. Executioners victorious again. Well, let's try them against wheelbarrow dragons. If the wheelbarrow dragons get the right angle on them, they might be able to cause enough damage to do something here. Especially if they manage to not all die right away, they might come in at the right angle to get a second wave in here. There's a lot of executioners on the ground, but the wheelbarrow dragons are basically self-destructed, as they often do. We've got like 1 driver left. And yeah, he's down. So, victory once again for the executioners. Let's see how they do against the shogun. Shogun is like the samurai, but beefier, tankier, slightly faster. Doing a pretty good job of taking down some executioners, but they're so expensive that we can only afford 4 of them for the cost of all those executioners. This last one's holding his own pretty well, considering they're having a hard time. He's ducking and dodging and weaving, and they're having a hard time getting a shot on him. Meanwhile, he's picking them off one at a time, but there are just so many of them left, I don't think he's gonna... His luck's probably not gonna hold for very long. Yeah, no, he's dead. Can anything stop the reign of the executioners? Well, let's try some senseis. These are the buffer ninjas. I think they might just be fast enough to hold the executioners back. Their rate of fire is so great the executioners just can't get within range to do any of their attacks. Okay, so the senseis are victorious, but let's see if they can deal with samurai giants. Now, the samurai giants' best chance is going to be to getting close before they are overcome by the ninja stars. Looks like one of them managed to get a shot off, and he killed a sensei right away. But that was the only shot they managed. They were just completely overwhelmed. Okay, let's try the ninjas against the tree giants. Tree giants, if they can get a couple shots off, they might do alright here. And they're a little quicker about it than the samurai giants. Yep, all the senseis are down. We've got just 1 left, and He might get up. Let's see here. Yeah, he got up, but not for long. Okay, so the tree giants are victorious now. Let's see how the tree giants do against the ice giants. Now, tree giants are quicker. The ice giants are definitely more destructive. Ice giants are doing their best. Oh, the tree giants seem to have gotten them. Okay, so tree giants beat ice giants. That was a bit of a surprise. I'm going to put them up against Artemis now. Artemis just costs more than them, so I gave them cheerleader, but I don't really know how to match these up. I don't think whatever I would do that it would seem particularly fair, but doing our best. And is any of them going to make it to Artemis? No, they're all dead. Too many arrows. Okay, so now we're going to face off all of the units from the earlier ages against each other to see which unit is in fact the most cost-effective. At the moment we've got scarecrows from the farmer era versus mammoths from the tribal area. And boy, those crows just do so much damage. They're taking out those mammoths in like 4, maybe 5 shots is all it takes. But a few of the mammoths from the back line have gotten through. They were protected. And they are running rampant through the scarecrows. But there's still quite a few scarecrows left. One of them kind of charged and died during his charge. Yep, nope. A few of the scarecrows survived the charge. So let's put them up against the most cost-effective unit from the medieval era, the king. Now those crows do so much damage. The kings have so much life. We'll have to see who comes out triumphant. After the first assault, there's no kings left. It's all the scarecrows. Now let's see how they do against ballistas. I added a couple extra scarecrows and a couple extra ballistas to make it come out a little more even. Now if all of these ballistas hit, because there are more ballistas, they are cheaper than scarecrows. If they all hit, they might win. Yes, okay, so the ballistas have taken out the scarecrows. Ballistas from the ancient era. Let's see how they do against berserkers. I don't think this is going to work very well. Berserkers are just too fast. They've already spoiled the aim of most of the ballistas. As far back as the ballistas were, it wasn't far enough to keep the berserkers away in time for them to make enough of a shot. Yeah, berserkers have won. So let's try them up against the Monkey Kings. They're pretty strong, but so are the Monkey Kings. Let's see how this goes. Both of them leap at each other. Of course, the Monkey Kings have an advantage whenever there are lots of enemy units because they can duplicate themselves on attack. Yeah, no, I think the Monkey Kings are going to win this one. Yep. Monkey Kings win. Okay, so the only thing that's left is to put Monkey Kings up against Artemis. I doubled the point value here, but at least that way it came out even. So we've got 4 Artemises versus 13 Monkey Kings. And the Monkey Kings just can't get close enough. There's too many arrows. They didn't even get off their attack. But just in case, let's try this again with a few more. So this is 300,000 points worth of Monkey Kings versus the same amount of points worth of Artemises. You can see now some of the Monkey Kings are getting in to do their attacks. And once they start doing their attacks, Artemis just doesn't have a chance. Artemis's only hope is, it's such a glass cannon, its only hope is to shoot down everything before they get to her. This is just this giant ball of Monkey Kings and Monkey King illusions rolling north into the line of Artemis. It's taking maybe a little longer than we expected, but no, in this case, Artemis does not win. But maybe we placed the Artemis just a little too far forward, so we'll move them back a bit. There we go, as far back as they can go, and then we'll see who wins this battle. And we can see the Artemises have enough range, but if they're placed far enough back, they can take out the Monkey Kings. So I think we're going to say Artemis wins. The Monkey King is a pretty powerful unit if placed further enough forward. And that's it.
Warning, warning, this video is almost over. Warning, warning, it's time to choose another one. This has gone on far too long, time to wake up and sing along. Warning, warning, this video is over now.